Welcome to episode 10 of Terese Talk. I'm your host, Terese Main. By day, I host a morning radio show on a network in New York and Pennsylvania. By night, I'm a podcaster. If you're a woman like me who loves Jesus and just wants to serve her family and community a little bit better, you're in the right place. This episode marks a change in Terese Talk. First of all, it's shorter. I know you're busy, so I'm hoping we can connect in smaller bursts. Secondly, we're moving to a weekly format, so look for a new podcast every Tuesday morning. Remember, Terese Talk on Tuesday. So it's a brand new year. Welcome to 2021. Are you glad? We talked about this on the show. If you missed it, I love this idea for journaling. GLAD, G-L-A-D. First, you journal something you're grateful for. Then something you learned. Next, something you accomplished that day, and then something that brought you delight. Now, I don't know if you're a good journaler. I'm not the best with sticking with it every single day, but I do know that when I take the time to journal, I can see personal growth, especially if I'm reading things in the Bible that are encouraging me and I write those down. I look back and I can see where God is molding me and shaping me. So if you've never tried journaling, maybe this is your year. Now, if daily is too much for you, I totally get it. But could you maybe journal an entry once a week or even once a month or just whenever you can? But let's get back to GLAD, something you're grateful for. This is such a hard concept for so many of us. I mean, we're all about the things we're grateful for in the month of November, for Thanksgiving. But then the other 11 months, it's kind of like, we just don't think much about it. I encourage you to live with an attitude of gratitude. For one reason, it helps to cut down on envy. When we look at what other people have and we want it, we're actually messing up a couple relationships. First, we're messing up our relationship with that person. We can't love someone fully if we want what they have. Secondly, we're kind of messing up our relationship with God because we're not trusting that He's given us the best for us when we want something that somebody else has. So when you instead focus on what you're grateful for, it really allows you to be in full thankfulness to God and less concerned about what everybody else has. Next, L, what you've learned today. I wish that I had been doing this more last year because I felt like I spun my wheels through so much of the pandemic. When you really think about what you've learned, it's pretty amazing. I read more books than I ever have in 1 year last year. And if I really took the time to journal like every week about what I was learning, I'm sure it'd be amazing. And I'd be able to look back and reflect on those things and maybe actually use them moving forward. There's what we read and what we understand, what we learn, and then what we actually use. And sometimes when you journal things, it helps it kind of lock in your brain so that maybe you'll put it into action in your life and you'll see a difference. Something you accomplished today, especially this time of year, there's such a temptation to just kind of do what you have to do and then hibernate. But we've got to keep moving. And when you see what you've accomplished, boy, you realize you're really getting a lot done when maybe you feel like you're not. And so this just might be the kind of encouragement that helps you to appreciate how much you do and encourage you to stick with it. Next, something that brought you delight. And I think that there's this concept, because the Bible talks so much about suffering, that we're supposed to be suffering all the time, but we're also supposed to have delight. And I know that God is a God who loves to bless us with things like that. And sometimes they're things that make you smile. Sometimes they're things that make you laugh. God is in the business of delighting us. And I think He gets great pleasure from that. And when we actually take the time to write those things down, we're reminded of how sweet our relationship with God is, how much He loves us, and how much He just wants to make life good for us. So as you consider journaling through 2021, think about GLAD. Name something you're grateful for. Name something you learned today. Name something you accomplished today. And name something that brought you delight today. GLAD. If you've enjoyed this episode of Terese Talk, be sure to subscribe and rate us. Now, if you really loved it, consider making a gift to Family Life, the ministry this podcast is a part of. Let's connect next week too, okay?